Welcome in a new episode in which we discuss the inspiration of Hidetaka Miyazaki in the creation of his Souls Borne series. This episode may be a little faster because I've condensed a lot of information in 2 slides, but especially because the next video will be the first most important video of this series, and this because I will speed up the process of I will speed up this series in order to finish it faster, and even because of few time that is left to me for the preparation of this kind of video. So I want to give you the most important part of what I've planned till now, and then I can, when I have time, I can speak about even other topics. As we said the other time, here we speak about the prologue of Dark Souls and the prologue of the Nameless City. Before I want to tell you what the Nameless City is. Of course, even here it is a tale by H.P. Lovecraft, and it speak about this man going in the depths of a forgotten city, and in this place he finds some creatures that are under the ground, hidden under the ground. This happened in Egypt. So here we start with a work by, a quote by Miyazaki, in which he stated, "The stone dragon is not alive. The ancient dragon are half living, half element. So there's not pain for them. In the opening cinematic, it is shown that they were there before there was life. So yeah, they don't feel pain. Kinda like Akuma Shogun from the Kinnikuman series. He doesn't possess its own body, so it doesn't feel pain. He fusion with Akuma Kishi and they build its body. Sorry for my English, but that's my series. So it's all like this. So here we see this statement that actually I've written after the creation of my theory that I'm telling. Moreover, and just make it stronger when I found this interview. And we have in the prologue of the story by H.P. Lovecraft a sentence that is quite famous among people reading his tales. That is, "Death is not that which can eternal lie, and with strange ions even death may die." So in this case we have this was a poem by Abdul Abzalared, if I pronunciated it right. That is a fictional character by H.P. Lovecraft, which have visited the city before, and when he visited the Nameless City and he came back, he wrote this little poem. So basically he is referring to what is under the city, and as we said before, we have these monsters that live under of it. So we can already start speaking a little more in detail. This city then is meant to this city hosts these kind of creatures that, according to the Arab prophet, are not alive from the moment they are in some particular state of life in which they don't are not considered alive, and in this state they can live basically forever. So he say, from the moment that they are not alive, they are not even death, but they can stay for eons in this state, and in this period, even the concept of death can die. Of course, there is even a little of poetry interpretation here in the in the prophet. And so we can only assume that these creatures come from ancient times. Maybe we can assume that they come from the Egyptian culture. Even the idea of mummification and resting under the ground and keeping the body working for a long time is a concept that comes from the mummy, from mummy, from the ancient Egyptian. So here we come again to a comparison with the stone dragon of Dark Souls. We don't find so many connection, but let's read it anyway. So here the first quote is taken by the Shadow of Out of Time, still by Lovecraft. And here there is the main character that somehow, without too many spoilers, visit a library of a very ancient alien population, which have all the history from the past and the future of the mankind, of the Earth, of what happened on the Earth. So I went to check before releasing this video if there is some mention about it, and I found it. And one of this section of the library in which all the history of the Earth say something like this: the section devoted to the culture of mankind and of the furry and the reptilian races immediately preceding it in terrestrial dominance. So yeah, it's written Shadow Out of Time. So here we find, for example, a statement about the presence of a reptilian society before humans. So this seems to be reptilians that used to live on the surface of the Earth to be the dominant race of the planet, but that then went underground and somehow hibernated themselves to wait maybe a better times. Then in the Nameless city, again, we find this description. In one flash, I thought of comparison as varied as the cat, the bulldog, the mythic satyr, and the human being. Not Joe himself had so colossal and protuberant a forehead, yet the horns and the noselessness and the alligator-like jaw placed the thing outside all established categories. So chimeras are not something new in the Egyptian culture, and we could speculate even from which Egyptian shapes this kind of description can be taken. But in particular here I want to, as you can see from the green highlight, I want to focus the little connection with the dragons. So the horns and the alligator-like, the reptilian-like appearance of this monster. And in general, these monsters, apart this chimera of animals, are always referred as reptilians. So we can consider the reptilian factor as the most dominant on the creature. So from here, then, I want to move to the consequent theory about the dragon. That of course this is a little more my speculation, but let's say is quite accepted in many internet environments. So we may consider the dragons as the human being who want to survive to the collapse of the world in Dark Souls 3. Let's go a little slower because some of you may not have the same knowledge about the state of the art, about speculations, but there is a YouTuber that has quite proved that the normal state of a human being, his destiny, what the human being tends to become and to be, is the dragon. So I suggest you, if you didn't, to go to watch the video that I will put even in the description, but it's written even here. And there is quite obvious and proven that all the human beings are transforming to dragons. Everyone has several different degree of transformations. And in general, we know from the first Dark Souls the path of the dragon, in which a human can become a dragon, even though probably that is not the complete form what we see in all the games. And we even know, thanks to the silver ring, still from Dark Souls 1, but then repeated in each game, that serpents are basically dragon wannabe dragon, how to say, that would like to transform in dragon, but they have failed. And that's why they are the symbol of avarice, because they try to achieve what they cannot. And even because the snake is the animal that can eat objects more big than his head, and several other reasons. So the snakes and the dragons and other creatures are all creatures that, and humans are all creatures that try to survive to the repetition of times. And what's better than a being that is not even alive, but is something like a statue in a place that is out of time and place, can survive to the next cycle. So we can imagine that after the world collapses, it will create some kind of paleogenesis that will give birth to a new world, as we see in Dark Souls 1. So we can assume that who succeed in becoming dragon in Dark Souls 3, if we consider Dark Souls trilogy as a circle that repeat and repeat, then it's gonna be an archdragon in Dark Souls 1, after eons of time in which the dragons are there before than life, and probably other creature like giants, wyvern, and snakes, as the pygmy and all the humans. Probably they are creatures that have survived thanks to their partial transformation, or maybe just living under the ground. Yep, so what I want to say at last is that to survive these great quantities of times, the only way seems to be the transformation in dragon. And that's why everyone during the 3 video games try to transform in dragon, so that they can be part even of the next cycle. Okay, I think this is everything for this video. I hope it was interesting, and the next video, I believe, will be in comparison with the other videos, will be something like a bomb, because it will be a very long, big video called the old one. Oh no, this is the next video, called the old one. And it will be the first of a series of very few video, I hope, in which I try to manage to explain my view of the most important creatures of Dark Souls. And I think it's gonna be very interesting for you. So see you in the next video, and that's it. Bye.